And for everyone out there, that's what they're looking at, all right? So you can see what we're reading here. All right, we're going to read about Jacob's dream. It says, Jacob traveled for many miles. His uncle Laban lived far away. One night he lay on the ground, using a stone for his pillow. Can you imagine using a rock for a pillow? It would be comfortable? Do you? Okay, yeah, that's all yours. Do you understand what a rock is? Okay, you guys need to be nicer to your children. He thinks a pillow would be an upgrade to whatever you're doing right now. Or a rock. All right, have a seat, Charlie. Jacob fell fast asleep. Don't know how. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Then Jacob dreamed of a stairway to heaven. How many of you remember your dreams? Yeah, Ben is the only one. Oh, you? Okay. Good. I don't hardly ever remember mine. He dreamed of a stairway to heaven. Angels walked up and down that stairway. God said, I'm watching over you, Jacob. Someday all of this land will belong to you and your family. Who lives on a lot of land? Yeah, how many? Yeah. You're probably not the most, though. How many acres? 40 acres? 800? Okay. How many? She said 8. I was just kidding. Oh, what'd you drop? How many? 100 acres. Is that true? Could be. How many? 5. All right, you win. All right. The next morning, when Jacob woke up, he said, the Lord is in this place. He took the stone pillow and set it up as a reminder of his dream. Jacob praised God. Listen, I don't need help here. Then continued on his way. And everyone said, Amen. All right, thanks everyone. Head back to your seats. If you don't have a sermon sheet, let me know and I'll get you one. Yes. I have no idea where he was going. You what? You want to see? Here, you want one of these? Okay, go have a seat with Mommy. You can always tell the preacher's kids. They're still hanging out, right? Not a problem. All right, good morning, everyone. Whew, I'm working up here. All right, we are going to be in Genesis chapter 28 this morning. We got a little precursor there. I will tell you, bless you. Who was that? Are they okay? Are you all right, Stacy? Oh, wasn't you? Okay. We can call a medic if we need to. All right. Like I said, we're in Genesis chapter 28, and we talked about that stone pillow thing. How many of you on a nightly basis feel like you get enough sleep? Yeah? Really? Of course, you can sleep through anything, right? Anything, anywhere. All right? How many of you are like that? When you're out, you're gone. Nothing is waking you up. How many, like, the slightest breeze wakes you up? All right. Now, I read a stat this week that I'm just not sure I believe. It says 60% of American adults feel like they are not getting enough sleep. I feel like that number is kind of low. Because every time I talk to people and ask, how you doing, I get one of two answers. Fine, which is not an answer, or I'm tired. I'm just so tired, right? And yet 40% of us feel like we're getting enough. And looking in this room by who said they are, that number is skewing, right? How many of you feel like you remember your dreams? Sometimes? Yeah, on a fairly consistent basis? How many of you are like, I never remember my dreams? All right. I got to tell, where's Logan? I got to tell a sleeping story on my son Logan. Several years ago, I don't remember, Nita, do you remember how old Logan was when we were in the Telluride area? Make up a number, I won't know. 19, okay, 4, no. He was a little bit older. We were camping with some friends, and we decided, we came down through Telluride. I don't remember what city we were in, but we decided, kids have been camping all week. kids want to go to a swimming pool, so we decided to stay over at a hotel that had a swimming pool. They had a lot of fun. That night, we were trying to save some money, so we slept in a room with 2 queen beds. So the boys were in one bed, we were in another. At about, 2 o'clock or so in the morning, and it's dead silent in the room, in this hotel room. About 2 o'clock in the morning, Logan springs straight up in the bed and goes, "Roar!" and then laid right back down and went to sleep. I don't think I slept the rest of the evening. He hasn't done anything like that since you've been married? That's good. Yeah, so, and have you ever noticed how at nighttime things just seem to get darker and they seem to be quieter and everything feels a little bit heavier? The silence is louder, the fears grow darker, and loneliness presses in a little bit harder. I mean, if you've ever watched a movie where something bad is about to happen, it's very rarely in the daytime, right? It's usually at night. And you get the ominous music, which I'm, in some cases, very thankful doesn't happen. Well, that's kind of the scenario we get with Jacob in Genesis chapter 28. Now, if you remember from 27 and the beginning of chapter 28, Jacob has had something, his life has turned upside down. Everything seems to have gone wrong. And he's fleeing, right? So he's taken his brother's birthright and blessing, and his brother responded as many brothers would. How did Jacob's brother Esau respond to everything that had happened to him? He's angry. How angry? And he was ready to kill him. And he meant it. This wasn't just like, oh, if I get a chance, I'm going to kill you kind of thing. It was, you're dead. As soon as dad is dead, you're dead. And so Rebekah, Jacob's mom, freaks out and says, you got to get out of Dodge. And so she quickly sends him to her uncle Laban in Haran, which is about 500 miles away. So let's think about that for a second. How far is 500 miles? Think about what's between here. How about from here? What city are you going to travel about 500 miles? Any guesses? So I heard someone say it. Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City is about 500 miles from here. So that's how far Jacob is traveling. And he ends up, just kind of a precursor to what we're going into, he finds himself alone in the wilderness. He's running from his brother, and he's got nothing but a stone for a pillow. But what should have been a night of nightmares, God redeems and transforms. He changes, he enters in, and God breaks through with Joseph in his darkest hour. And Jacob in that moment discovers everything that you and I need to know. That God is closer than we think, his promises are bigger than our fears, and his presence turns even the hardest places into holy ground. So let's jump into the story. Genesis 28, starting in verse 10, as Jacob is fleeing. Meanwhile, Jacob left Beersheba and traveled towards Haran. At sundown, he arrived at a good place to set up camp and stopped there for the night. Jacob found a stone to rest his head against, and he laid down to sleep. I love how the author here kind of makes this sound a little nonchalant, doesn't he? So Jacob flees. He's all alone. He's traveled for about a day. He's tired. He stops and sets up camp, and he finds a stone to rest his head on. I don't know about you, but that's weird to me. If your only option was a stone, what's a better option? Yeah, nothing. Nothing is a better option than a stone. Just lay on the ground. But it's important that we back up here and understand what's going on in Jacob's mind. He's deathly afraid. What's he afraid of? Why is he running? Hey, his brother wants to kill him. He has no friends. He has no family. He is all alone. So he's alone with no one around him. His entire support system is gone. In fact, his support system's who he's running from, and he's afraid, literally, for his very life. And on top of that, He's anxious. What does he have to be anxious about? He's in the middle of nowhere. He's alone. He has no idea what's going to happen. Right? He had a plan. What was his plan? Not before he ran away. What was Jacob's plan? Yeah, to take over his father's estate. He's taking over the estate. He's taking over the birthright. He's God's chosen, right? And he knows this. And so he's got to be thinking, man, my life is golden. I know exactly how everything's going to work out, and it's perfect. But did it turn out that way for Jacob? Anyone in the room ever feel any of these emotions? You ever feel completely alone and afraid and anxious of what the future might bring? Man, I think we all feel this way. Anyone ever felt like, oh yeah, I knew life was going this way, and then you wake up like 5 years later and you're like, what happened? What is going on? This is not how I pictured it. This is not how things were supposed to go. And so Jacob has started this journey. He's gotten about 70 miles. So it's like from here to Fort Collins. He's got a long way to go. It's probably going to take him over a week to actually get to his uncle, Laban, in the town of Haran, who he doesn't even know. He's never met him. And I'm not sure he even knows where exactly he is. Everything has been turned upside down. And in his haste to flee, he doesn't even have the right provisions. Now, I don't know about you, but when I travel, one of the key things I want to take with me, and it's also one of the hardest to take with me, is my pillow. You ever tried to pack a pillow? What's that? Oh, yeah? Oh, no. I'm not talking a small pillow. I'm talking a big pillow, right? What's the size of the pillow that you use? Yeah, mine's big. It's huge. So I usually can't take it. You ever go to a hotel room and try to use their pillow? There's only one simple word for it. Garbage. I mean, they're either so thin, they don't do anything, or they're like this thick, right? And stiff, and you don't know. But all those options are better than Jacob's options. And I don't know about you. I'm going to ask the guys in the room because they'll be honest with me. How many pillows are on your bed right now? I got a couple guys. I got 3, 2, 6 on your bed? Why do you have? Hold on one second. I got teenagers with 6 pillows on their bed. I got to understand it. Why do you have 6 pillows on your bed? Are you pregnant? He said he has a pillow for each leg and under an arm and his neck. Can anyone beat 6 pillows? Yeah, how many? 10? 10 pillows. Are they your pillows? She's pointing at you. They're your pillows? What is happening in this room right now? How many? Are they yours? 2 are yours. All right. How many do you, of the 10, how many do you actually use? I rotate. You rotate? Okay. We need to talk later, I think. How many do you actually use out of the 11? I use 2, you use 4. 6? That's actually pretty good, right? How many of you, anyone beat 11? That's a lot. Yeah. How many of you have like 10 pillows and you don't even know what they're supposed to be for? Right? Yeah. How many you got, Heather? 11? And how many do you use? 2. Yeah, probably 1 for you, 1 for Jeff. And those are the ones that are hidden under all the other pillows? Yeah. See, this was the conversation I was expecting to have. Not these conversations. I don't know what's going on over there. Why are we talking about pillows? Because this pillow is important. It's an important symbol. As we watch, and the other reason I'm saying pillow so much is because every time I do, a kid is marking feverishly on their paper. All right. Pillows are important here. And by the way, talk one more thing about pillows. My wife is on the great pillow hunt. How many pillows do you think you bought in the last 10 years? Take a guess. 7 or 8? Yeah, probably. Whatever she says, double it. So probably 14 to 16 pillows. She's looking for this perfect pillow. Have you found it? Yeah, the answer is no. She always thinks she has, and then it doesn't quite work out. Pillows are important here because the pillow, the stone pillow here, is an important symbol, and I want you to watch what happens with this pillow. What do you think at this point of the story the pillow represents for Jacob and the story in general? Bless you. Difficulty, hardship, rest, except it's a stone pillow, but okay. He's trying to. It represents poverty. It's like everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. It's not a positive symbol. It's a negative symbol. But again, I want you to watch what happens as God transforms this symbol. Right? So he gets on this stone pillow and somehow he falls asleep. So let's talk about what happens next. Pick it up in verse 12. As he slept, he dreamed of a stairway that reached from earth up to heaven. And he saw the angels of God going up and down the stairway. At the top of the stairway stood the Lord, and he said, I am the Lord, the God of your grandfather Abraham and the God of your father Isaac. The ground you are lying on belongs to you. I'm giving it to you and your descendants. Your descendants will be as numerous as the dust of the earth. They will spread out in all directions, to the west and to the east, to the north and the south, and all the families of the earth will be blessed through you and your descendants. What's more, I am with you, and I will protect you wherever you go. One day I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have finished giving you everything that I have promised you. Now that is a dream. Jacob falls asleep, and what does he dream of? A stairway to heaven. Now, if you've ever heard this story before, you've probably heard instead of a stairway, what have you heard? It's not Jacob's stairway, it's Jacob's ladder. So which is it, a ladder or a stairway? The answer is yes. Okay, the Hebrew word there actually means a ascending stairway from one level to another, an ascending platform or something that gets you from one side to another. Does a ladder do that? Yes. Does a stairway do that? Yes. And I want you to just close your eyes for a minute and imagine this stairway and angels going up and down that stairway. That's pretty cool, isn't it? But what's most important is not so much the stairway and not so much the angels, although all of that is important. Who's at the top of the stairway? God is at the top. And he has a message for Jacob. He declares a couple of things. Number one, he says, I am the Lord. I'm the God of your grandfather and the God of your father. And there's an intimation here as well. Not only am I their God, I'm also your God. He's kind of name dropping here, but he's making sure that Jacob understands the importance and the gravity of this moment because of what he's about to say next. He reestablishes the covenant that he has made to Abraham and to Isaac over and over and over again. Again, listen to what he says. He tells them the ground that you're lying on is what? It's yours. This is your land. And I'm going to give you so many descendants. Instead of using the star metaphor, he says, as much dust as there is on the earth, that's how many descendants you're going to have. And you and your descendants will be a blessing to all people. And then he says probably the most important thing. He says, I'm going to give you my presence. I'm going to be with you every step of the way. I'm going to protect you, and I'm going to bring you right back to this place. Where have we heard that before? Yeah, that's exactly what God told Abraham multiple times. It's exactly what God told his father Isaac multiple times. And now he's reiterating it to Jacob. And notice, remember we said Jacob was alone and afraid and anxious. And listen to everything that God says counters all of that, right? Jacob feels alone. What does God say? I'm with you. I'm going to protect you. He's afraid. What does he say? Oh. We playing games back there? It's children's church, right? You guys are in the dark. I don't know what he's trying to say about you guys, right? All right, he says, I'm alone. He says, but I'm with you. He's afraid. And then what does God say? I'll protect you. I'm with you and I will protect you. I will bring you back to this place, which gets over his anxiety. He's telling Jacob, you may not understand what's happening, but I'm going to be with you. And I'm going to bring you back to this place. He's telling Jacob, I have a plan, and whatever happens in the future, I'm going to bring you back to this place. Isn't that awesome? And by the way, God's telling us the same thing. You feel alone, God says, no, I'm with you, and I will never forsake you. You're feeling afraid? How many times, you know what one of the top phrases in all of Scripture is? Don't be afraid. Why? Because I'm with you, and I have a plan. I know you may not understand what's going on, but I do. You know, our life group has been watching the Netflix show, not Netflix, Prime show, House of David. By the way, if you haven't watched it, it's good. It's not chosen good, but it's good. It's talking about King David and his family and his life. And they've been walking through this process with David where David has been anointed king, but he's not getting anywhere. And he feels like, God, I don't understand what you're doing. What is the point, he says, of being chosen if I'm just sitting in a field doing nothing while everyone else is off doing everything? Well, God has a plan. Do we always understand it? No. Does he still have a plan? Yes. So God comes to Jacob in this dream. He has this amazing personal encounter with God, and then he wakes up. And now, let's see how Jacob responds. Now, if you know anything about Jacob, what should you be expecting? Do you think Jacob's the deceiver, the one who stole from his own brother, whose brother wants to kill him, who's his mommy's favorite? How would you expect Jacob to respond? Positively or negatively? Oh, you think it's a trick question. It's not. What would you expect? Is he going to do the right thing or the wrong thing? Wrong. That's what his life has been up to this point, right? Let's see how Jacob responds in verse 16. Then Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, surely the Lord is in this place, and I wasn't even aware of it. But he was also afraid and said, what an awesome place this is. It is none other than the house of God, the very gateway to heaven. The first way that Jacob responds is with fear and awe. Is that the right response or the wrong response? It's the right response. Is this an awesome moment? Is this God's place? And should he be a little afraid? Yes. This is an awesome God, and God has shown him something in a way no one else ever has. Right? He's speaking directly to Jacob, and Jacob responds with fear and awe. And when you have an encounter with the living God of the universe, that should be one of our responses. Next, verse 18, the next morning, Jacob got up very early, and he took the what? The stone that he had rested his head against, and he set it upright as a memorial pillar. Then he poured olive oil over it, and he named that place Bethel, which means house of God, although the name of the nearby village was Luz. So what's the second way that Jacob responds? Worship. He takes the stone that he was sleeping on, which was the symbol of despair and poverty and hardship, and he sets it up as a memorial to God in the encounter that he's just had. You see how God transformed that? Did Jacob have a night of nightmares? No. God shows up and gives him a promise. And his response is to worship. He sets up the stone as a memorial. He anoints it with oil, and he names the place House of God. See, God has transformed, and you see the stone turn from a symbol of hardship to a symbol of blessing. A remembrance that Jacob and his whole family can look back on and say, here's where God showed up. Do you remember a time in your life where God showed up? We need to remember those moments, because there's going to come a time where we need to remember that moment. Right? Jacob's going to have times in his life down the road where he's going to have to come back and say, I remember that God showed up and gave me this promise. But that's not the only thing. So, by the way, is worship the right response? Yes. So how's Jacob doing so far? Good. Hang on. Verse 20. Then Jacob made this vow. So what's the third thing Jacob does? He makes a vow. Now, in and of itself, is a vow wrong? No, but listen to Jacob's vow. If God will indeed be with me and protect me on this journey, and if he will provide me with food and clothing, and if I return safely to my father's home, then the Lord will certainly be my God. And this memorial pillar I have set up will become a place of worshiping God, and I will present to God a tenth of everything he gives me. I read that, and this is the sound that went in my head. Wah, wah, wah. Jacob it's like so close. What's wrong with this vow that Jacob has made? It's an if-then statement. Any programmers in the room? Right? If God will do this, then I will do this. Right? He says, plain as day, if God is with me, and if God protects me, and if God brings me safely home, then the Lord will be my God, and then I will worship him and give him a tenth of everything that I own. There's two things wrong with these statements. Number one, it's conditional, right? The if-then. If God does this, then I will do this. Is that how it's supposed to work? No. Did God give a conditional promise? Nope. God just said, this is what I'm going to do. Not if you, Jacob, do this, then I will do this. He very simply says, this is what I'm going to do. And instead of trusting God in that moment and doing what he says and believing him and having faith that God will be faithful, he responds with skepticism. But before you get too hard on Jacob, how many of us do that? Okay, we won't talk about that anymore. At least for 5 seconds. The second thing wrong with this response is it's backwards. If anything, God should be the one putting conditions on Jacob, right? He should be saying, listen, Jacob, if you will trust me, and if you will worship me, and if you will give me a tenth of everything that I give to you, then I'll be with you, and then I will protect you, and then I will bring you back. But again, that's not what God did. So once again, the man does not disappoint. Jacob gives us a prime example of what not to do. Should we respond with fear and awe? Yes. Should we respond to God with worship? Yes. Should we make an if-then vow to God? No. Don't do that, right? So there's definitely a lesson here, but there's also a bigger picture in this story that I want to make sure that we don't miss. There's something else going on here, and we all know, right? We all deal with the same emotions we've been talking about. Fear and loneliness and anxiety about what the future holds. And just like Jacob, God makes it very clear that he's with us, that he has a plan, that he's going to protect and watch over us. But this story talks about something bigger that God was doing that Jacob had no idea. In fact, for thousands of years, nobody had any idea what God was really doing in this moment. Because this entire story is a foreshadowing of Jesus Christ himself. And you don't have to take my word for it. Turn to John chapter 1. And by the way, this is one of the reasons we're going through Genesis and why we're going to do Revelation later, is because without this story, when you read what Jesus says here, we would miss everything that's going on. John chapter 1, verse 51. Now, I'll tell you what's happened before this. Jesus has chosen his disciples, and Nathanael, one of those disciples, exclaims to Jesus, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God, the King of Israel." And Jesus asked him, "Do you believe this because I told you I had seen you under the fig tree? You'll see even greater things than this." And then verse 51, then he said, "I tell you the truth, you will all see heaven open and the angels of God going up and down." What's that sound like? The stairway to heaven, right? He sees heaven open up and this stairway and the angels going up and down. It says you will see the angels of God going up and down on the Son of Man, the one who is the stairway between heaven and earth. So this dream that God gave to Jacob a long time before Jesus shows up on the scene, Jesus references that. And by the way, everyone listening in Jesus' day would have immediately picked up what he was talking about. They don't know what it was. He was talking about Jacob's ladder or Jacob's stairway or whatever they called it at the time. Jesus is saying, he doesn't say they're going up and down a stairway. What's he say? They're going up and down on the Son of Man. And then he says it, in case you didn't get it, he's saying, "I am the stairway between heaven and earth." Man, isn't that incredible? This dream has become reality. It's the reality that you and I live with on this side of the cross, and we should respond to this the same way that Jacob did, only better. We should respond with fear and awe and worship, but instead of a conditional vow, we should respond with absolute surrender. See, when you're alone, what should you tell yourself? I'm not alone. I'm not alone. When you're afraid, what should you tell yourself? God's going to protect me. God has promised He's going to be with you. When you're anxious and you don't know what the future is going to hold, you can say to yourself, God has a plan, and I trust Him, and I've got Jesus, the very stairway between heaven and earth. And I believe in Him, and I have faith in Him, and I trust Him with everything that I am. Let's not be conditional with our faith. Let's pray. Father, thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us, and for this time to be together in family church, and having the kids be here and sharing this moment with us. And Father, I thank you for this story and for this dream that you gave to Jacob. And it certainly applied to Jacob, and it helped Jacob in his moment of fear and loneliness and anxiety. And I pray that it will help us as well to know that Jesus is our stairway from earth to heaven. He's our connection to you, and that you promise always to be with us, always to protect us, and that you have a plan for our lives. And all God's people said,